Hi students. This week we're going to cover chapter 11 of your textbook on how to annotate your drawing. First we'll cover what annotation is, and then we'll talk about text, dimensions, and finally end up with multi-leaders. For each of these types of annotations, there is also an associated style to go along with it. So first of all, what is annotation? This might not be a word that you know. Annotation is how you add notes, explanation, and information to your drawing in addition to the lines that you've already drawn. In this way, you can provide information about a feature, such as the length of a wall, the diameter of a fastener, or specifically a detail callout. In AutoCAD, we create annotation objects such as dimensions, notes, and other kinds of symbols. So on the screen, you have an example of a architectural detail. It's a shelf detail right here, and it has some annotation. For example, here is a note. It says 5/8 inch gypsum board on 3 5/8 inch metal studs at 16 inches on center. So that's giving a lot of information about how this specific wall is built. That is a note, and it's got a leader line, which is a line with an arrow, pointing to the specific wall. Here's another kind of annotation. It's a dimension right here. Dimensions are used to give lengths. And so this particular dimension is showing how deep this shelf is, and dimensions have a numeric amount right here, and they've got extension lines. That's this piece right here. This is an extension line that goes to the point which is being measured. And finally, we've got some other symbols. This specifically right here is a detail title symbol, and it's saying that we're on detail 18 of sheet A5. So with all these different types of annotation, we add information to our drawing. The first type of AutoCAD annotation object I'd like to talk about is text. AutoCAD has two commands for text. One is mtext, or multi-line text, and the second one is simply text for single line text. In my opinion, this is a legacy object, and I suggest that you use mtext for all of your text uses. Use it by default. It's best in most options. So the mtext is right here on the Home tab annotation panel, or as shown in this picture, the Annotate tab text panel, and you can access it with this icon, or of course there's the command mtext, and the shortcut is MT. Speaking of which, on that Annotate tab text panel are a lot of different ways you can edit and control your text, including spell check, align if you want all your text objects to line up and just on one edge, justification, which tells each individual text object whether it wants to justify top left, top right, middle. There's several different options here. You can select the text style. You can search your document for specific text, and you can view and set the text height, all right here in the Annotate tab text panel. Once you've created your text object using the mtext command, then later you can edit that text object. Like other objects, you can use grips to edit the size and shape, so you can pull and stretch your mtext object. You can also use the Properties palette to change its general properties, such as color, layer, etc. And also it has specific text properties down here. So you can change the text properties such as style, justification, text height, etc. There is a quick properties pop-up where you can hit some of the most common properties. Or finally, once you select your mText object, the text editor, and I'm showing it down here, the text editor tab will become available. And that has a lot of different tools and options for you to edit and really get the type of text that you're wanting to. One way to control your text options is to use text styles. You'll want to set a text style for each type of text that you want to use in your drawing. For example, titles, notes, perhaps title block text style. When you are working professionally, your design firm will have standards for their text styles, and they can be quickly and easily copied between between drawings using the Design Center, or you can create a drawing template which has those text styles preloaded in it. To access the text styles in your drawing, you can use the command style, or the shortcut is ST. Or, as always in AutoCAD, there's so many different ways to access this command. One is in the Home tab, Annotation panel. You can see that the Annotation panel is right here. Once you pull down that panel, there's more options here, and you can access the icon right here. It looks like the letter A or a piece of text with a little paintbrush. And so this piece will show you the current text style, but if you pull that down, there is an option down here that says Manage Text Styles. So that's a couple of different ways to access the text style command. Also, you can use the Annotate tab text panel, and that's what's shown right here. In the Annotate tab text panel, this tiny little arrow in the bottom right corner of it will pull up the text style command. Also, if you take a look at right here, if you see this is standard right here is the current text style set in the drawing. And if you pull this arrow down right here, there is one more way to access the text style command. It says Manage Text Styles. So once you use any of those, 16 different ways to access the text style command, this is what shows up. This is the text style dialog box. And in this way, you can select over here, this is going to list any of the styles currently loaded in your drawing. You can select any of those, and then you can come over here to the right-hand side and set one of them current, or you can create a new style. Once you've created a new style, by hitting this new button right here, you can change or adapt any of these options here. The main ones that I tend to use, of course, are font and size. Now, the size option has a little bit of an interesting hiccup to it. If you set your text size in the text style to 0, that doesn't mean that you're going to get a 0 height text. Interestingly, it means that AutoCAD will prompt you for a height every time you use this style to create a new text object. So in that way, you can create a style that always has the same font and effects, if you set any, but can have varying heights. Or if you create a text style and write in a specific height in this area, that height will always be used when you use that text style. Here's another option that's very powerful, and it's called annotative. If you select the annotative checkbox right here, your text style will be an annotative text style and will show up right here under the annotative list. So you can have two different types of text styles, annotative and non. Any annotative text styles will automatically adjust the text object's height in proportion to the drawing scale that you set. This is complicated but very powerful. And so you should probably use annotative text styles for any text that you place in model space and then is going to be um, represented on your drawing in a particular drawing scale. If you're placing text in paper space and want to create the text directly at the size in which it should be printed, then you do not want an annotative text style option. So let's pop over to AutoCAD and see if we can demonstrate how the text command and the text style commands work. First of all, let's find it in our menu. We're in the Home tab, Annotation panel right here, and here is the text command. Remember there are two text commands and you can use them, find them using this pull down. The default's going to be this multi-line text command. You should generally use the multi-text and avoid the single line text command. So I'll go ahead and click on that. When you select the command, it asks you to specify a corner and then an opposite corner, just like you're drawing a rectangle. And basically what you're drawing is the bounding box for the text object. So I'm going to specify that opposite corner by clicking. And now we can enter our text. And I'm going to enter my random text here. Okay. When you're done, hitting enter or spacebar does not work to finish this command because you are entering text and that will just use the enter or the spacebar. So you need to click out of the box, just like this. Ready? Click. Okay. Oh dear, my text is very, very small because I'm using a small text style. So you can see that I've selected it here. I can zoom in, my text is much smaller, but I actually want a larger text. So let's see if I can modify the text style. How do I access it? In this case, I could use the Home panel, Annotation, Home tab, Annotation panel. I'm going to pull down right here where it says Annotation, and we can see that this particular object that I have selected is in the standard text style. So I'm going to pull down that little flyout window and choose Manage Text Styles. Here we go. This pulls up the text style window, dialog box maybe, and we can see that currently selected is the standard text style. I'm going to create a new one. Here we go. New text style. I'm going to say, this is the big titles style. I just made that up. All right, here we go. And because I had the standards text style selected, it copied or made a new style based on all of those options. So everything that was in the standard text style has been created or recreated in my big text style. So now I'm going to edit that. I'd like a different font. Let's pick something random here. Goody Stout. I've never heard of that one. There we go. Ooh, it's going to be great. And I don't want an annotative text right now. And I'd like to set the height at 6 inches. So I'm drawing in model space. My text height will be created at exactly 6 inches. So I set that as the current style, and then I'm done, and I will close this window. So this object right here, once I've selected again, I can see, oops, it's still the standard text style. I'd actually like to change it to my new style, which is the big title style. Here we go. And I select that right there. You can see that now, zooming in, I have my text object in the big title style. So we have created a text style and applied it to this text object. Another way you can apply that style, if you select the object and go to the Properties palette, the style is one of the text options right here. But in this Properties palette, there's no way to create a new text style or manage those text styles. You can only choose styles that are currently already in your drawing. So I don't know if you noticed, but as soon as I selected this multi-text object and double-clicked into it, I was able to edit the text if I wanted to perhaps add more. And the text editor tab popped up. So up here in the text editor pad, we can see the style. We can change that style right here. We can change its formatting and override the style formatting for this specific text object. We can change its justification, line spacing, columns. We can insert a symbol if we need to. You can use the spell check, the find tool, and let's see, it says more. I don't even know what's under there. More, character set, and editor settings. Well, there's a lot of options under this text editor, and if you are familiar with tools such as Microsoft Word and other different text programs, you will be very familiar with most of these options. So once I've made my editing choices and edited my object, I can either click out of it, or I can select the Close Text Editor button here, this little green check mark. I'm going to go ahead and do that. So green check mark, that text has been edited. In technical drawing, it's important to add annotation to your drawings to convey additional information that is hard to do with just pictorial representation. And so the text tool and the text styles are important and powerful tools to add these to your drawings.